Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Tonnessen, and I would like to welcome you to the fifth episode of Design by Kelly's podcast, Coffee Chats with Kelly. Today, we are joined by Linda Gray. She is the president of Corporate Connections, which is a minority women-owned business that provides consulting services, nonprofit and grants management, volunteer recruitment, proposal developing, grant writing, social enterprise business plans, community workshops for professional development, and so much more. If you have questions about how to apply and get a grant through Corporate Connections, be sure to stay with us for some valuable information today. So grab your coffee and join us. Without further ado, I would like to welcome the founder of Design by Kelly, Kelly Thomas.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. I am so excited to be joined by Linda Gray. Linda is known as the nonprofit expert. She works with small and upcoming women and minority-owned businesses, community development organizations, and faith-based organizations. One of the things I think I found most impressive about Linda the first time I met her is that we both base the success of our business off a very similar concept. It's making a difference in the lives of others. And I just think that's amazing. Today, I asked Linda to join us to talk about one of her areas of expertise, which is grants for nonprofits. At Design by Kelly, we work with a lot of nonprofits, and I often get asked many questions from clients about grants and the application process. So I'm going to pass all your questions on to Linda today, and she is ready to give you all of those answers. So before we get to those questions, Linda, can you please take a few minutes and just tell us a little bit more about your background and how you became known as the nonprofit expert?
Thank you so much. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to be able to interview on this prestigious platform, Designed by Kelly. And thank you for inviting me. My story begins, you can say approximately about 25 years ago. I started volunteering in the nonprofit communities because my husband's job moved us to several places. So it was one thing that I was able to do by moving from place to place was be able to get involved in my community. And so I started volunteering into nonprofit organizations and found it what a great opportunity, to give back to the community, what a great opportunity to learn about the resources that our community have. And then that's how Corporate Connection began. It actually began in 1998. And actually, I am a 20-year certified business mentor with SCORE. And SCORE is one of the greatest resources that we can have access to as entrepreneurs and businesses. And then also, I am married to a minister. And then I'm also have 4 grandchildren and then 3 grown daughters. And yes, nonprofit is my mantra. I am so excited to help nonprofit organizations definitely help them build their platform, helping them become sustainable. So I'm just excited, Kelly and then Emily, I'm just excited to respond, answer questions, and support our nonprofit community.
Great.
Yeah, I'm very excited too. Thank you so much for joining us. So our first question today is, can you start off our episode by explaining to everyone what a grant is and who can apply for grants?
Yes, I'll be glad to. We have to understand that any organization and any business have to have revenues or dollars to implement. And so nonprofit organizations are in great positions to actually apply for funding opportunities through corporate funders, private foundations, and even on our federal level, local, state, and national. And so a grant is an award, which is dollars that have been awarded to a nonprofit organizations to help fulfill its mission and its purpose and its goals and objectives. And so nonprofit organizations have to be set up as a 501c3 entity through the IRS in order to qualify and apply. But that's not all. Nonprofit organizations are eligible to receive contracts These are contracts that are available through local agencies so that nonprofit organizations can apply for these contracts, and contracts are dollars, and that helps support their mission and efforts out too to the community. So grants are a great opportunity for nonprofit organizations to generate, sustain long term.
That's really great. And when should nonprofits decide to apply for a grant, and can they apply for more than one at the same time?
Yes, nonprofit organizations, it is very important for nonprofit organizations to continually to apply for funding opportunities in every area or in every agency that actually fulfill their mission and their purpose. So as a instructor, I teach nonprofit leaders and I encourage them to at least apply for, listen to this, 5 to 7 funding opportunities in 1 month. Okay. And they usually look at me and say, 7? Yes, because that will help you increase your pipeline into receiving funding opportunities. Because look, you might not win all of the funding awards, but guess what? You'll have a pipeline to begin with and start. And then you can apply. Like I said, there are 3 types of funding opportunities that you can go after. The first one is corporate funding. These are your businesses and your companies and your Fortune 500 companies. They have charitable programs. And then also on the private foundations, these are philanthropists, family members that decide that they want to give back to the community. And then also your federal funds. And so I always get when I start mentioning federal, you see sort of like a frown in the face. But look, it's all well, because guess what? It's your tax dollars. Tax dollars make up federal funds and on the local level, because your local level funding comes from your cities. Your cities fund nonprofit organizations. So it's a great opportunity to apply as many as you can, but making sure you make the right match to the right cause. That's the key in grant research.
Okay, that's really good to know. And once they've done the application process, how long does it take typically to get a grant?
Yeah, normally it's a process. All grant applications first are submitted to the funding agency, and what they do is they screen out to make sure you have everything that is required to even be reviewed. So that's the first process. And then they are reviewed. And if it's from a foundation, the grant applications are reviewed by the board members. And so in the foundations, they meet 4 times a year. So they get the group of applications and they assess them, and then they award them within 45 days. So foundations can be awarded as fast as 45 days, as long as 60 days. And now on the businesses or corporate companies, right, they can be awarded as fast as 1 month. But normally with corporate companies, they go through a process. And so it's a little bit longer. So maybe about 65 days, 60 or so days. And then on the federal level now, depending on the type of federal funding that you're going after, it can take up for 90 days all the way up to a year, depending on the allocations that have been allocated by Congress and Senate to release those dollars.
Okay. Thank you so much for explaining that. That was very informative. Kelly, did you have some questions prepared today as well?
Yes, Linda, I work with a lot of churches and nonprofit ministries. So are there grants specifically for them?
Yes, it is. And because and Kelly, I don't know for your audience, can I strictly talk about Texas or in general?
We have clients all over the United States.
Okay, so let's say this. In the United States of America, we have what you call, that was instituted by President George W. Bush, which is called the Faith-Based Initiative. And the Faith-Based Initiative, it was in 1996 that concluded that every state in the United States can form and have a entity that actually help churches and faith-based organizations be on an equal playing field in receiving funds. And the greatest thing about this is that it does not prevent you from your faith. In other words, it's a good opportunity for churches to be able to apply for these funds to do their community outreach into the community, because that's so important. Yes, and there are also some selected foundations that strictly fund churches and faith-based organizations. And so also in foundations, several foundations that actually fund that churches can actually apply for funding to serve in other countries based upon their ministry needs. So the opportunity is endless, and particularly churches and faith-based organizations. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. So another thing I get run into often with my clients is they struggle with having the funds to be able to pay someone like me, whether it's for a website or graphic design or branding or whatever it may be. So are there specific grants they can go get as they open that will help them cover these costs?
Yes, it is, because the premise for nonprofit organizations to go after grant opportunities and dollars is to pay for essential operational costs and services to operate a nonprofit organization, because we know to operate a nonprofit organization is just the same way as offering funds for a for-profit business. You have to take care of your operating expenses. So one of the things that we have to keep in mind as nonprofit leaders, we have to make sure that in our funding applications, we have to really research operating opportunities. The operating opportunities mean space costs, marketing, actually CPA, hiring professional services. And so my thing that I always tell nonprofit leaders, look, let's partner and collaborate with a for-profit business in order, so when we get ready to apply for the funding, we can ask the professional business or the entrepreneurs, especially, like Kelly in your marketing, we can actually put in the budget to pay for your marketing services or the services of a CPA. That's your board member. You might have a board member that's a CPA. There are funds allocated in that grant opportunity to take care of those costs. So yes, that's what we have to do as a nonprofit organization, because look, you got to pay the bills. There's lights, utilities, there's space, you know what I mean? And there is opportunities to grow your business by social media platforms and the opportunities to really sustain and get your nonprofit organization out there. And then definitely helping your organization get access to volunteers. So yes, a great opportunity for for-profit businesses, or small business, or entrepreneurs to collaborate with nonprofit organizations to become sustainable. Yes.
So should a nonprofit hire a consultant to assist them through this process? And what are the benefits to having a consultant?
All right, let's talk about first the nonprofit organization itself and its executive director. It's important for me as a consultant, because I am, I've been a grant consultant for nonprofit organizations before. But one thing that I do know, that nonprofit leaders, executive directors, board members, they must know how to be a grant writer. They have to learn certain skills about the grant writing process, grant research, because it's so important. Now, I'm not saying that not to hire a grant consultant, but it's important for the organization itself and its staff to at least have some type of working knowledge on grant proposals and grant research. Now, on the other side, grant consultants really have to be dedicated. When I say dedicated, I mean they have to really work with the nonprofit organization leaders in order to make sure that the organization leaders learn everything about the grant writing process. In other words, you don't leave a consultant alone to actually, work on your application without you actually collaborating with them, providing the information. Because as a grant writer, when I am asked to do grant writing for an organization, I'm not familiar with the nonprofit organization's operations or mission. I may not know anything about transitional housing. The grant consultant have to learn and get information from the nonprofit organization in order to serve them. So I would recommend from the very beginning, especially if you're a startup, let's talk about learning how and develop in your organization a grant writing team that's on your staff, and then get your volunteers that you can get to actually help you develop proposals and understand and research them yourself instead of taking on the expense of hiring a grant writer. Now, I would say that when you do write the grant proposals, to always include in your budget request some costs associated to hiring a grant writer. That's very important. So when you win the grant award, those dollars are already allocated to pay for the services of a grant consultant. And it's a win-win situation. That's the way you do it.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll definitely pass that information on to our clients. Emily, you have any other questions?
Yeah, I was wondering, are there any useful resources out there that basically advertise grants that are available right now?
Oh, yes, it is. Since the pandemic, we've gone through the pandemic, started in 2020. That the resources that have been poured, when I mean poured, literally, funding opportunities poured in the latter year of 2020. So there are opportunities even when you turn your television on, because every TV station, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox affiliate, they have funding opportunities, grant opportunities, and they advertise it. And also, there are a lot of good free online directories for finding the funding opportunities. And last but not least, the federal government on the local level, all of your cities, your counties, they are actually funding nonprofit organizations as we speak now. So there are great opportunities and available streams of opportunities of grant applications for nonprofit organizations. And they're getting bigger and bigger and more and more. And according to the American Rescue Recovery Funding, each state, each county, and each city have an allocations of dollars that they are dispersing to nonprofit organizations, because we know that nonprofit organizations, we're boots on the ground. We make impact directly to the people. So we have access to the people, and once we get the resources, we can actually help address the residents' needs.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's really awesome. Thank you so much. That's great to know.
In the show notes below, you're going to find a link to our Canva shop where there's a free resource from Linda of recommendations where you can go online today and start the process of finding grants. So be sure to check that out.
Yes, Kelly, the resource that you're providing definitely is a great opportunity and a great resource and a list of great websites that help actually nonprofit organizations build, grow, and get ready and get registered to be able to apply. So I hope that your audience will enjoy those resources. And I want to thank you again, Kelly and Emily, for this great opportunity, because you know what? Nonprofit organizations are the thriving thread of our communities. I mean, it's a great opportunity also to be involved in the community, engage in community residents wherever they are, to participate and give back to the community. And Kelly, I do want to say, I've followed you on your website, and I am just amazed at the valuable of resources that you offer to nonprofit organizations, because we need good quality resources that we can't afford, Kelly. But thank you and your company that you're able to provide these resources to us thriving nonprofit organizations in emergencies. So I'm just so excited to be a part of the community, and then making sure that we give the best that we can get for. And just because you're a nonprofit, remember this, just because you are a nonprofit organization, that doesn't mean you cannot be profitable, because you have to be profitable as a nonprofit organization. So with that, I want to thank you again for the opportunity.
Oh, well, thank you. And we appreciate your kind words. We try really hard to give our clients information and value to help them be successful. Because just like you, we're all about making that difference. Emily and I are really excited. We want to let everybody know that we are getting ready to team up with Linda at Design by Kelly to offer some online nonprofit classes on topics like your nonprofit vision, mission, and purpose statement, operating budgets for nonprofits, how to get qualified staff and volunteers, just to name a few. So right now, as Linda said earlier, nonprofit organizations are in a position to receive millions of federal dollars and to administer essential services to support community needs and provide economic impact throughout communities, particularly those underrepresented communities. So together, we want to work to help you achieve your goals as a nonprofit and to reach your local community. So if you're interested in these types of classes, or maybe there's a certain type of class you'd like to have us offer, please leave us a comment below, or you can send us an email at kelly@designbykelly.org. And Linda, thank you again so much for joining us today and sharing your expertise and knowledge with us. It's been so informational. I know I have learned a lot. I'm sure Emily did too. So
Yes.
can you close us out today by telling everyone how they can learn more about you or contact you if they have questions?
Okay, great. Yes, you can find me on LinkedIn, but also my website. Let me give you my website. It's called corporateconnections.info. Corporateconnections.info. And my email address, Linda, Linda, Jordan, Jordan, Gray, Gray, @gmail.com. That's again, my website is corporateconnections.info. Please reach out to me, and definitely will respond back to you. And again, thanks for the opportunity. And I'm looking forward for these classes. I can't wait, Kelly.
Me either. And we'll put all of Linda's contact information in the show notes, so you'll all be able to find those there too.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you all for watching today's podcast. We invite you to visit our website, designbykelly.org, to check out our portfolio and also to check out how we can change your small business for good. We also invite you to visit our Canva template shop to find all of our free resources and Canva templates to get your design journey started. And please take a minute to subscribe to our YouTube page so you never miss a podcast. Thank you so much, and we hope you join us for the next edition of Coffee Chats with Kelly.